How we doing, everyone, and welcome to episode 14 of Talking to Mod. This week we have the fantastic singer-songwriter and frontman from the Bluetones, Mark Morris. I cannot wait to get into this one. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, sit back, relax and enjoy episode 14 of Talking to Mod. How you been then, mate? All good?
Listen, I'm gonna keep adjusting this. Yeah, It's been a very nice summer. As a matter of fact, it's been. Well, I quite like the summer holidays because I'm pretty much not a man of leisure, but I don't have a 9 to 5, obviously. So I get to see a lot of the kids and sort of do stuff with them and or do nothing with them. So I enjoy the sun a bit, and it's been a very relaxed, leisurely summer. I've had a very relaxed, leisurely afternoon. I should fill you in because I know you're a clean liver these days, but I am most of the time. But my neighbours were around earlier. My literal next door neighbours were around, and we were going to have something to eat, but we didn't eat anything. We just had a couple of drinks and sort of listened to some music and sat in the garden. It's been a lovely evening. So I am on my third drink, and this is unusual for me, like at 8 o'clock on any evening.
It's all right, though. I tell you what, if my neighbours come round and said have a few drinks, I wouldn't be here right now, probably in the local pub. That's the difference, man. That's the difference. But no, it seems that, going back to the family's everything, and when you do get the time, as you know, in the similar industry, when you're on the tours and you're away from the family, it really is hard, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's not like hard and whoa, poor me. No. It's just difficult. You feel like you're missing out on all the little things a little bit, but then, I do sort of console myself with certain ideas. It's like if I was working shifts, say, there's a good chance I'd see a lot less of my kids than if I was on tour, or just as much of my kids if I was on tour. And say if I were, working on an oil rig or in the army, so but to balance that, when I'm not on the road, I'm here, fully available for all their breakfasts and tea times. Because I don't live with my children. They live away from me, but they're with me like a few nights a week. So it's great, really. It's a nice balance. It's the best of both worlds in many senses. I'm not grumbling. I miss them, but part of life is missing things. Otherwise, you're taken for granted, perhaps.
100% agree with you there.
Listen to me. You can tell I've had 2 drinks. I'm getting all philosophical.
Listen, I love it. Listen, you say whatever you want, man. But I remember I was on the road back last November, I think it was, and the missus sent me a video, and it was Lonnie taking his first steps, and it's stuff like that you put in the balance. You think, I wish I was there for that moment. You know what I mean? But as you said, it is really swings and roundabouts.
Yeah.
I missed that moment.
Yeah.
I'll probably end up seeing his first goal when he plays for Fulham.
Well, exactly. And there's every chance that you'd have missed his first steps if you were at home anyway. He could have had his first steps when he was at nursery or when he was with his grandparents. And it's just one of those things. And it's not that big a deal.
Yeah. What I want to know, Mark, is I want to know, how did you get involved in music in the first place, mate?
Through school originally. I went to quite a cool school. It was a comprehensive in Cranford in West London near Hounslow, borough of Hounslow. And I was very lucky at the school I went to. The way it was built, there was a great sports facility there, and there's also a really cool music department. And when I was a kid, I was absolutely obsessed with football. I played for 3 or 4 teams. So every day of the week, it was either playing for your club or your school or whatever, or your county, or you were training. And then I injured myself when I was about 14 and couldn't play for a while, and started hanging out in the music department at school instead of playing football at lunchtime and football at break time and football after school because I couldn't. I started hanging out with a different set of people and started getting into singing songs and playing songs and learning an instrument or two. And And I never really went back to being a sort of a sporty guy at school. Anyway, since then I've sort of I do keep myself busy with football, five-a-side and squash, whatnot. You know, I'm a middle-aged guy. I've got a friend of dying. But so it was really, you know, I'd liked me. I was a buyer of music. I was a pop fan. I collected singles and I collected cassettes and whatnot. But it was then when I had to cut football out of my life, which was then, as I say, everything. It was 6 days a week. I was either training or playing. And to have that space suddenly in my social diary or even school diary, I just sort of drifted towards the music department. And my best friend at school was this guy called Greg, who was like a prodigy, like a fantastic drummer from the age of about 10, 11. And it was like those things in the day, you don't remember this, but in the day, and when I was at sort of primary or junior school, now and again, when it was like a Easter festival or a Christmas festival, you get a band coming to play. And it was generally some sort of Stray Cats sort of copy band, but it was like a live band and rock and rollers. And my God, what, in the school hall? What, in the assembly hall? And so it was always very exciting. And it was, you know, it was happening at like 2 p.m. But Greg, when he was a kid, when he was 10, 11, would always get called up on the stage to join in with the band for a couple of numbers. And he was better than their drummer. Always. He was that kind of guy. So I started hanging out with him and people in the music department. And it sort of went from there. Sort of, he was part of the first band that I was in. The school bands sort of don't really count, do they? And I think he was the drummer in the first band that I was in. Became the Bluetones. But sadly, he decided that he wanted to take a different path. I say sadly, we got Ed's, and that's worked out pretty bloody great all round.
Certainly has, mate. It certainly has. You touched up. I mean, obviously, we know you're a massive music lover, so is myself. But you mentioned about you're a big collector of records as well. What do you remember your first album you ever bought?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, it was it was a cassette in those days. But the first album that I bought for myself that I didn't ask for as a Christmas present or something was The Luxury Gap by Heaven 17. And I remember distinctly the reason I bought it was because I'd watched Top of the Pops the previous week and Heaven 17 were on. And as they finished, Janice Long turned to the camera and said, if you buy one album this year, make sure it's The Luxury Gap by Heaven 17. And something about that was like in my sort of 12-year-old brain was like, well, I've got to buy that bloody album then. Janice Long said so. And it's actually, I like that record, so.
What was the last album you bought?
Oh, it was the Queens of the Stone Age album in Times New Roman, that one. I was listening to it in the car today. It was going between Classic FM and Queens of the Stone Age. That's a shock to the system. It's like an ice bath.
With a bit of Classic FM, mate, I like to have that on.
Makes you a better driver. Do you drive?
Yeah.
Listen, try it. I swear to God, try it. Just have Classic FM on the car. It chills you out. It makes you less anxious to get where you're going. I've only got it on because I had to get a new car recently. So it's a second-hand car. And it was on the preset radio stations. It was the first one. So I just left it and thought, I'll give this a go. New car, you know, you're quite excited driving around. It's quite rural around here, so there's a lot of country roads. And it was perfect. And I've just left it on. And if I want to listen to an album in the car, stick an album on. But generally, I just listen to Classic FM. And it makes you a better driver. It totally chills you out. You're not, like I say, as anxious. You don't mind sitting in traffic because Classic FM is just washing over you like a nice little breeze.
I've seen a few comments. I know you mentioned it at the beginning about my voice. Let me try something else a minute, Mark.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So it's not just me.
How about now?
Same, really. Is it plugged in? Is the jack hanging out or something? Because it feels like it's...
Let me get a pair of headphones. Could you wait there 2 seconds, Mark? Sorry about that.
That's fine.
I mean, we are live, aren't we?
That's all right.
2 seconds.
I'll keep entertained with a a joke. No, I haven't got any jokes. I'll just sit here. Oh, so the magic mod has disappeared. True to form. I'd normally be getting ready for the quiz night about now. I'll be going through my book of facts and reading the papers, going through the headlines. But I've sacrificed it. I've sacrificed a potential winning of £16+ so I could chat with the magic mod. There he is. The magic mod has reappeared.
Hang on, let's try this.
Now.
There we go.
Oh, what? Is that much better?
Yes, that's very clear. Yes.
Should we start again?
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. So sorry about that.
That's fine.
I checked it earlier because a long story, right? I recently bought a new phone, or contract with iPhone, and I was taking Lonnie out to the car the other day. So I had him in my arms here, I had his milk bottle here, I had his teddy there, and I had my phone under my chin. And I ended up slipping the phone, and it's landed face down. I thought, oh, it might be all right. Picked it up, nothing worked at all. I couldn't even call off it, so I've had to take the SIM out and put it in my older phone. But now wonder, like my mum rang me up earlier, and she's like, I can't hear you, I can't hear you. I'm like, Mum, you're on the underground, obviously, you can't hear me. But apparently it's my phone all along.
So let me ask you this. Have you got a protective case on your phone?
I did have, yeah.
And it didn't do nothing?
No, it's not like, it's one of them ones I bought off like, I think I got it off Amazon or something, and went for a cheap and tacky one.
You can't be doing that. You need to go into one of those little shops and the case and lock your phone in, because it needs to have a little bit coming over. So if it does land face down,
yeah,
the screen doesn't take the impact. So all these fancy ones, they're not really protecting your screen at all.
No, I know. Ooh. I know. I feel like I'm being lectured now, like saying, this is what you got to get, son. This is what you got to get.
I'm just trying to impart some consumer wisdom.
I'm only messing
about. Mate.
I forgot where I was now. Let's see, that's my fault now. You can tell this is, I'm still early in the stages. I think this is the fault.
How I got into music and stuff.
And then, do you remember, what about gigs? Were you much of a gig goer? Did you go and see many bands?
I did actually. I lived in Hounslow West. But it was like a 20-minute walk and an hour bus journey, but one to get to Hammersmith. So I used to go to a lot of gigs at the Hammersmith Odeon, and it was. I'd go and see a lot of. I went to see the first gig I ever saw there. It was Nick Kershaw. Oh, what's that sound? I can hear something scratching around. It's like you got a hamster running across your keyboard.
Oh, don't stay there. I ain't got nothing.
No, I think it might be that little microphone around your neck. I think it's hitting your zip.
Let me do it up.
That's some flex.
Nearly got a free show then. That might be better.
Might be, I'm not sure. Sorry to point that out. So, excuse me. So, I go to a lot of gigs. I used to make my own way there, and I'd get picked up and taken home. So I went to see OMD, like Robert Palmer. Who else did I see there? The Cult, All About Eve, who was supported by the Lars when I saw him.
Brilliant.
Oh, bloody hell. Talk. I was at the last ever Talk gig. Didn't know it was the last gig at the time, but it turned out to be. Who else? Loads of people, because it was just the nearest venue that I could, at that age, could get to and get back in a sensible hour without anyone freaking out. What about yourself?
The last one I went to a conversation with Noel Gallagher in Kingston 2 weeks ago, but he didn't perform, and I was so disappointed by that. But
conversation with Noel Gallagher.
It was like something with Banquet Records in Kingston, and it was just literally Felix White from the Maccabees and Noel just talking really, and I didn't really. There was a point where you emailed a question over, and you know they had the chance for them to read it out, but I didn't really know what to say, so I asked Joel Gion from the Brian Jonestown Massacre, "What would you ask, mate?" And he said, "Ask him if he'd ever reconsider doing crystal meth with him again in San Francisco." And I went, "That is the question."
Well,
I think it.
Else is no.
We all know how it went the first time, didn't we?
No.
But no, that question never got read out, so I was a bit gutted about that. My missus said, "Why don't you just ask him if he wants to see a trick?" But I'd be gutted if he says, "Who the fuck wants to see a magic trick?" You know what I mean? I'll be generally gutted if he's.
And shame on him.
Exactly right.
It's a centuries-old art of close-up card magic. It's the best magic there is.
But I already had something to say. If he did shout that out, I would have said, "Well, your brother likes it," and then hopefully that would have just shut him down a bit.
Red rag to a bull.
I know he might have thought I was a bit of an arsehole after that, and might have been kicked out.
It's so completely normal. This rivalry that these two grown men have.
It is mental, though, isn't it? Like, not to talk about it, but it is absolutely mental. Like, it's a funny thing. When I met Liam, I did a few tricks to him, and it's the thing. Like, I didn't want to talk about Oasis at all, but then he brung up, "Do I play like any sort of instrument?" And I said, "Mate, I'll make a better sound with a guitar if I threw it down the stairs." And he just had a fag and went, "That's a bit like me, our kid." And I was like, "Oh, yes, we're on the same wavelength here. We're doing all right." But I would love to have asked him a few things about, you know, the past and the early days of Oasis, but it's best left. That's what the biographies and the books are for. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. And you don't want to push it because sometimes it's like people just want to chill out. They don't want to talk about themselves all the time, you know?
Oh, God. Who wants to talk about himself?
Well, that's it. I'm trying to deflect. I had meetings with the chaps from Oasis like a long time ago. Obviously, not 20 or so years. Well, I saw Noel a few years ago after that, actually, at a mutual friend's birthday dinner. And he was like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" And it was like, "Well, he's my mate." Because it was just all rich people. And he's like, "What are you doing here? You're not rich like us." And I was like, "Well, I'm his mate." But Liam, I've got a very nice story about Liam. Going back to 1997, we just finished our second album. We just finished recording it, and we just finished mixing it. And our management offices was in Belsize Park. And we were going there to play this CD mix of the finished record, etc. And we went to the pub first, and in there was Liam Gallagher. He was living around there, I think, with Patsy Kensit at the time. And there were lots of photographers just hanging around outside the pub and inside the pub. And he saw us come in and recognised us because we'd done some gigs with him in the past. And it was like, "All right, lads, sorry about all this mess. I'm remembering it as best I can. Sorry about all these guys. It's just a distraction." But he was very nice and he was very polite to all the sort of paparazzi guys that were hanging around. And we were like, "We're going to go back to our offices in a minute and listen to our new album. And you're welcome to join us if you want to just escape this madness and just chill out for a bit." And he was like, "Yeah, that sounds nice." And so he did. He joined us. I've stopped trying to do his accent now. So he joined, and we listened to a playback of the record. I think it was probably like the second or third time that we'd listened all the way through ourselves. And my memory of him that day was like, he was such a generous conversationalist. You know what I mean? He's a really good listener. He's not like he's got to stand up on the table and gab, all attention's on him. I think when the camera's on him, he might click into something else. But he was like a really nice, generous, and my sort of like strongest memory of him is that he was really funny, like genuinely funny. You're not laughing just because it's Liam Gallagher and you're kind of like this is a bit just an unusual situation. But he was genuinely very funny. And so I've always had a bit of a soft spot for him. because I've never been a particularly big Oasis fan or anything like that. But so what? But I like him. I like him. I find him hearing.
He's a very cool cat. Yeah, he's one of them people. There's a few people who could get away with it. Wear a bin liner. The next day, everyone would be wearing one. And in my opinion, that's Liam Gallagher and Paul Weller. They could get away with anything, mate.
Well, yeah, fair enough.
I've tried it.
Yeah. Could Liam Gallagher pull off a moustache like this?
No, mate. You are rocking that, by the way. I've seen a few comments. Mate, I've tried to grow a beard sometimes, right? And it just doesn't happen. It is awful. It's like one of them stick-on ones, you know what I mean? You get in a joke shop and I just can't. I'm like, no. So I have a shave and then I look like I'm about 18 or 19. Well, in my head, I look that anyway.
I wish I could have a shave and be good for a month. Instead, you know, after a day and a half, I look like Charles Bronson, or which I can't. You know, that I'm flattering myself there. But
right, listen. Do you remember the first? I mean, you mentioned at the beginning hanging around at the music department at school, but do you remember the first time you went out and bought a musical instrument yourself? And I take it, was it a guitar?
Yeah, kinda. Listen, that's another funny story. Yeah, I had this stepdad who was a real prat, and he was a carpenter, so he'd work on sites, and sometimes he'd go and renovate houses and that sort of thing. And one day he came back with this, and I was just starting to learn the guitar at school, but I didn't have a guitar. He came back with his guitar that had no strings on it, and he said, "I'm going to put some strings on this for you, Mark, and then it's yours." And I was like, "Wow, that is unexpectedly generous of you. Thank you." And so he took it to the local music shop, Bell Music in Hell, and got it restrung, but he got strung left-handed because he was left-handed. And then he said, "Oh yeah, I've changed my mind. I'm going to learn guitar myself." And then it just sort of sat on the top of his wardrobe for about another 9 or 10 months, completely untouched, gathering dust. And then one day I just sort of said to him, "Are you going to play that guitar, or can I have it?" And he said, "Yeah, you can have it for 20 quid.
Wow.
So that's how I got my first guitar. And,
Unbelievable.
Character building. I appreciate it. No, I bought it from, you know, that prick.
Unbelievable. Have you got, let me ask you, have you got any tips into how to learn the guitar though? Because I mean, I'm one of them people, I always got it in my head that I'm going to give it a go. On some of the tours I've been on, I've asked them if they could show me. The recent teacher I had was Anton, of course, from the Brian Jonestown, but I couldn't pick it up,
I'm
mate.
going to give you the best tip that you have not got this tip for anyone else before. Listen, learn all the basic chords, right?
Right.
But leave F and B to the end for another time. So learn songs that have got all the other chords. You know, your C's, your D's, your G's, your E's, your A's, but leave B and F out of it until your fingers are strong enough, because they require a bar chord, both of those, to play them properly. And not being able to play them can feel like it's slowing up your progress. So learn songs that you know and like, that you want to play. That gateway into so many. You learn about minor chords, sevenths and stuff, which are just as easy. In fact, they're easier than major chords most of the time. And just stick with it. Literally, just stick with it. Go through the pain barrier. Your fingertips are going to hurt. Your fingers are going to feel sore. It's going to feel like some days you can't make a clean chord. But stay with it and leave F and B for another day. Play anything but F and B, and then come back to those, and you'll be fine.
Thank you very much for your advice. I'm going to give that a go. So F and B, leave them away.
Leave the F and B's out of it. Yeah.
F and B. All right. I see what I can get there, but I'd like to. Like I said, it's something that I feel like I've got a bit more time on my hands now. I've got a guitar. Nadine's dad's brother come round, and he's quite a good guitarist, to be honest with you. And he's one of them people. He come round the other day, and we were busy doing something. It's like, got a new song for you, get on this. And of course, being from Northern Ireland and the music culture, they love it. And he's just banging away, giving this song a go. And Nadine's doing the washing up, and Lonnie's screaming his head off. And I'm like, what do I do? Do I watch him? Do I attend to the child? What am I going to do? Do you know what I mean? It was one of them moments. But
Lonnie, called Lonnie.
Yeah, Lonnie. after Lonnie
I
Donegan.
was going to say, there's only one other Lonnie I've heard of before. It must be Lonnie Donegan. But his old man is certainly not a dust man.
No, definitely not. If the Magic career doesn't go well, he might end up being one, though.
It seems to be going all right, mate.
He's doing all right. I mean, it's...
Because you're bloody good.
I appreciate that. That's very kind, and it means a lot coming from yourself.
My favourite kind of magic is close-up card magic, because you already come into it going, all right, fool me. You're going, go on then, fool me. And you do every time. You think, I've seen enough of these, and your eyes are like, I'm not going to be distracted here. I've got my eyes focused on, I'm not listening to what you're saying. I'm watching your hands. And you still fool everybody. You're very, very good.
That does mean a lot, honestly, because it's one of them.
It's my favourite kind of magic.
Thank you, man.
You can do it anywhere. You can do it anywhere.
I mean, it's
palaces and imprisonments.
Similar to yourself. It's with your music. I started at a young age, and I to be honest with you, I never thought I'd go on to do anything. So it sort of is like I'm living the dream, to be honest with you. But it's, you know yourself. One door is shut, another one are open, and you just got to keep on doing what you believe in.
I think you're brilliant, and it's a timeless craft. No one's gonna ever get tired of being bamboozled in that way. It is a wonderful thing. We know it's not magic, but it's like it's a craft that's so delicate, and it fools you every time.
I appreciate that. Honestly, it really means a lot. Thank you. So I'm gonna turn it back round on you now and say there's something that you're really good at, and we all know obviously you're a fantastic guitarist, but you're also great at writing songs. Now, what I want to know is, what is the first song you ever wrote, ever?
That's a good question. I'm gonna have to throw my mind back now. I think it may have been a song called Sena, Sena, and it was kind of like it was like a cod. It was when I was in a band called the Bottle Garden with my brother and this guy called Robin and Greg. It's got that guy, my mate from school, on drums. And it was like when you're just starting out, and I just got my first electric guitar, and you just see what sounds nice. So you're just messing around with the chords that we were just talking about, the basic chords. I knew those chords, but couldn't do F and B. And there's a song called Sena. Hang on a second.
Yeah, here we go. Here we go.
Just a sec. I was going to see if I can remember it, because I can remember it in my head. It's D major. There we go. So it's a D shape, and then you pull those two fingers off. It sounds like the Sundays. That's D. That's it. Yeah, I just thought. Yeah, there you go. So it's C. It's a D. Sorry, D major. I don't know what that chord is. I've always said that girls like her would fill my head with images of faith and painted lies. I never wanted anyone to tell me what to do. It seems that she and I are so alike. There you go. I don't know where that came from. Oh my gosh, that was like a
brilliant
brush.
Brilliant. Honestly, thank you for that.
Well, I'm glad you asked me. That's really got me thinking.
Oh, good. Do you want to do some requests?
Listen, you might be too young for this, but I learnt this today. Used to bring me roses. I wish you would again. But that was on the outside. Things were different then. On the inside, the sun still shines, and the rain falls down. But the sun and rain are prisoners too. When morning comes around. You're too young to remember that, aren't you? Prisoner Cell Block H.
Oh, right.
Please.
Yeah. I mean, too young, but I know Lonnie Donegan is, right?
Well, yeah, I guess so. Well, no, it's more of it was like a midnight TV show when you'd have been doing your bloody GCSEs.
What was that thing I watched? You ever seen The Prisoner?
Yeah.
That's some trippy thing that is, mate, I tell you.
Brilliant.
Unbelievable. Let me just shut this door 2 seconds.
Right.
Lonnie's crying.
Set him off.
He opened the door. Oh, he's gone.
Sorry, I was just putting the guitar back in its set.
Sorry. No, go and get it back out again.
No,
I'm sorry. Do you know, I knew you were going to get it, right? Because you did that little look over your shoulder to go, it's here somewhere. Shall I go and get it?
No, I was just thinking.
That's the look. That's the look.
When you said the first song, it made me think. I remember the first 2 chords. It was like, oh dear, because it's like really easy. I was like, little trip down memory lane there.
Memory lane, mate, eh? Rolling back the years. Brilliant, Matt. Are you all right for time, by the way?
Yeah.
Because I don't know.
Yeah, I'm
you're all right.
quizzing tonight. I've forfeited the Working Man's Club quiz. That's how you saw a Thursday.
Brilliant, man. Brilliant. So I get
literally it's 178 steps from my door.
Is it?
Mm-hmm. I've counted, and I'm in kind of I'm in like this sweet little triangle because I'll tell you a secret. No one else is listening. The chap that I buy my glass from is also 178 steps from my door. Equidistant is the Working Man's Club, and my friend who leaves me a bit of weed in his log shed every now and again.
Oh, I.
Oh no!
Shh! No one's listening. No one's listening.
It's 35. Tell anyone.
Listen, they're not grass.
Oh my God, we've lost one. I'm not just pick up this.
We lost.
Smoke.
Oh my God, you're cracking me up, mate. You're cracking me up.
What did you say? How was your Thursday?
It was all right, to be fair, mate. It was all right. Lonnie got his hair cut earlier, but I've been doing like these. A lot of people have said to me on social media, try this TikTok. Now, I know when I first heard of it, I was like, Jesus Christ, that's full of people dancing about and all this. It weren't for me. But I've sort of found a little way on it where I go on there and I say like, do what's Mod wearing today or what's Mod listening to, and they sort of do all right. I leave. Sorry.
To get some engagement with that, with like people, like-minded people.
I get a lot of. There's quite a lot of hate on it, right? But then there's a lot of people who love it as well. It's like Marmite, what I do. Listen, people ain't going to love everything I do. That's just life in general. I don't go out to please everyone. I used to, and then my mum sat me down one day and she said, look, you're not going to please everyone. Just please yourself and your family. So I stopped having that sort of thought that, you know, I've got to go out there and everyone's got to love me and this and that, which is totally not why we do what we do, as you know. But when I first started doing this, that's sort of what I had in my head. I want to go out there. Why are people not clapping? Why this? Like, for instance, sorry, not to make it about myself, by the way.
I'm intrigued.
Thank you. When I did the Libertines tour, that was my first real main tour, because before I worked with Paul Weller, but I did I was walking around the crowd and doing the tricks backstage and close up. But with the Libertines, I was on the stage. Now, when you go
screen,
say that again.
When you were on stage, that's my question. Sorry to cut you off, but did you have a screen so you could so the room could see your hands?
Yes. So that was the plan. That was the plan. So we played Warrington Park Hall and we had a screen. And then the next night we were in Hull Arena and they couldn't put the screen on. It was too low down. It was mental. So I had to sort of
trick through an arena.
I know. I did. I had to. It was quite that. Out of all the shows I've ever done, that one was probably not the best because
it makes you stronger, doesn't it?
Oh God, yeah. I learned so much because
magic to an arena with no screens. Yeah. You know, take some balls to do that.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, yeah. And the thing about me is I never, even when I was back drinking, I never used to drink before a gig or do anything because I want to go out there and remember it after, flat out. But they couldn't see that there was no screen, and I was sort of like, "Can you see at the back?" And they're like, "No." I said, "We should have got here earlier." Do you know what I mean? They're having a whale of a time at the front. You know what I mean? Like the first 3 rows are loving it. But here's another bit. The security guard at Hull, they threw my props away because they thought it was a rubbish bag. So I had a brown plastic bag, right, with my props in it, and I left it by the steps. And I went off to go to the toilet and come back, and I went, yeah, where's this bag? Has anyone took it? Like, I thought Carl,
Yeah.
I thought one of the lads like nicked it for a laugh, because I know we were always playing jokes on each other, and they were like, no. I was like, no, come on. Next thing you know, this bloke's come along and went, oh, was that your bag? I went, yeah. He went, oh, I've just thrown it in the bin. I'm like, fucking hell. And they're waiting for me to go on, and I'm like, I've got to go and get my bag. So we managed to get it all out of the bin and all that. And then, of course, when I'm up there, the screen weren't working. Only the first few. I mean, listen, everyone's going to hear me, but not everyone's going to see me. But it did. When I walked off that stage, I was like, well, I need a drink after that.
But listen, shit's always going to go wrong at some point. At points, shit's going to go wrong. And you need to be able to deal with it. And you've dealt with it. It's just like, strap it on, get out there, do it. And afterwards, the relief is overwhelming, isn't it?
Oh, good.
That's it.
And
oh my God, I didn't burst into flames or...
Yeah, they didn't throw anything at me.
They shit my pants.
Oh, well. Oh, you heard about that one.
Did. They had to hurt your flight.
But normally it is, it does work better with a screen in the back. But if you think of like the Tommy Cooper effects, that's sort of the avenue I've gone down recently, is just using big effects, because not all venues are going to have a screen. So, you know, I just love being up there.
Big props.
Exactly. Comedy magic.
What, those play your cards right cards?
Oh, God. No.
The twirl Anthea. You get nothing
No.
to repair, not in this game.
No, exactly. Oh, there's a little comment there saying more Bluetones chat, please. I mean, fucking hell, if I can't talk about myself, what can I do, eh?
If it's coming out of my mouth, Bluetones.
Exactly, right? Oh, do you want to look? Do you want to know the first trick I ever looked? No, I'm joking.
No. I'm intrigued. You know, this is a mistake.
That's exactly it, man.
Boring, and everyone knows the answers to the questions anyway. What was your first? What was it like to not Oasis of number one? It's like I don't remember. I'm sure it felt pretty nice for 6 days.
Imagine if we were in the same room right now, the music we'd be playing and the conversations we'd be having. Do you know what I mean?
Well, you know, just say the word. I can give us a soundtrack. I'll slip my stereos right here.
Beautiful. Is that like your little music room?
It's just my dining room. I'm at my dining table right now. Well, this is, my record player's in the dining room. So the telly room is next door. This is for eating and listening to music. It's in here as well. It's not. You know, I don't live in a big place. It's a little 3-bedroom, semi-detached, at the top of a mountain in Kaihiro.
And you're 180 steps away from the Working Man's Club, is that right?
78.
78.
I've whacked my nose if it's 180.
How did you know? Did you actually count though? Have you got one of them watches that counts it?
No, I did it because I was like, this is bloody fortunate, this situation, and I need to know how close I am to both of those things. And it was 178 steps.
Incredible.
I can never ever move house again.
Why would you though?
Angle of like good times. I've got darts, pool, quizzes, cheap plonk, and the other thing.
Well, that's it, eh? That is it. Going back to darts and quizzes, how good was Bullseye?
Oh yeah, I got quite into that during lockdown.
Mate, same, binged it.
Was it on at 11 every night, or was it midnight? No, it was on at 11, and then 3, 2, 1 started at midnight, didn't it?
I think, yeah. Something like that. I'm not very good.
I'll start that. You go to that. and people freeze frame it, and you get cancelled.
We can't be having that in life, mate. I used to know a really bad joke. I don't know whether to say it or not. Oh, it's one of them, innit? You know when you've just opened a can of worms and you said, "Oh, I know a joke," and people, shall I do it? It was Jim Bowen, wasn't it?
Yes.
Who did the? And do you remember he passed away the same day as, I think it was Stephen Hawkins, wasn't it? Was it Stephen? I'm sure they both passed away at the same day.
But for the purpose
No,
of this joke,
no, I honestly think they do, and they're just on the way to heaven, and just as they go up to the gates, Jim Bowen goes, "Non-dart player to go first."
that's not right.
Come on, mate. Listen, it's not as bad as you think.
Stephen Hawkins, though, he's a bit pretentious, wasn't he? I mean, he's from Oxford. And he's spoken that weird Californian accent.
Oh my God.
Come on. This
is my sort of humour. It's probably not everyone else's, but I love it.
Not right, is it?
Did you? This fucking ass. What are you drinking? Jack Daniels and Coke?
I hear your son crying.
No, that was me laughing.
I can hear something near here. I can hear something.
No, when we had he's normally asleep this sort of time. He hasn't slept at all day, right? So 7 o'clock, I thought, right, I'll put him in the car quickly, drive around Belfast, and he'll be out like a light. What have I got in the car? I've got the Rifles. I'm playing a bit of the Rifles, the Great Escape album at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm driving round. I thought, he'd be out.
I just want to say, they should not have called that record The Great Escape. It's been done.
There's a few.
Exactly. There's a few. You know, you've got everything else to choose from, lads. Everyone's going to go, "Oh, The Great Escape," and you have to go, "Yeah, not that one." Right? For the rest of anyone else who's not like heavily into the Rifles, is going to have to go, "Yes, Great Escape." Oh, no, not that one.
Or Winter Calls. That would have been call it.
That's fine.
You like that?
That's fine, yeah. But The Great Escape, it's like, like what you mean, like BL
film?
blank R. I blew it. The Great Escape.
They did. I'm not really a massive Blur fan. Don't get me wrong, I like them, and I admire that they've brought out some good songs. I like Country House because I think it had Keith Allen.
Look, I know that you are very firmly in the Oasis camp when it comes to good old-fashioned Oasis. You're like,
Someone,
the Yankees and the Confederates. Yeah, I was an Oasis supporter. You goddamn blue neck.
someone,
Yeah, Yellow Leg. Well, you like Blur. You know, it's funny, isn't it? And you're.
Someone shouted that out at me once. They said to me about my hair. They went, "Listen, why do you keep on having your hair like that?" I said, "Because I like it." They went, "Oasis and Blur, forget about it. The rivalry, it means nothing these days. And Oasis ain't going to get back together. Get another haircut, son." And I'm like, fucking hell. This was when I was on stage somewhere. I can't think where it was, but I think I brought the bloke up. And because the thing is, in my sort of line of work, I am so quick with the comebacks, right? But if there's someone who really just won't shut up, you come up on the stage, mate, and let's just turn it around on you for a bit.
Be nice about it, kill them with kindness. But you're the magic mod, so I mean, it comes as a part of the package that you present yourself a certain way. I mean, I'm not saying that's how you. It's not. I know it's not a uniform for you. I know it's like who you are.
Yeah, of course.
But it's like mocking Dolly Parton and saying, "Hey, it's a wig." It's like, yeah, I know it's a wig. That's me. It's like, yeah, your hair looks like a mod. It's like, yeah, I'm called the Magic Mod.
No. Someone actually said, I did a show London last weekend, and someone said to me when I got off the stage, "Is that a wig you've got on?" And I went, "No, this is my actual hair, mate. Do you dye it?" I went, "Fucking hell." I went, No. "Oh, all right." Do you know what I mean? I'm thinking, this is my real hair. I actually said to the geezer, "Mate,
influencer, you're on TikTok now."
Oh.
That's what these questions, they want to know because they want to be like you now.
No one wants to be like me. God help them if they do, mate. I tell you that. I'm going to ask you now. Do you remember your first show you ever did live? Now, when I mean this, I mean
on
ever.
Yeah, I do. Of course I do. It was an after-school production. It wasn't a school production. It was an after-school production.
Yeah.
And I sang "Brothers in Arms" by Dire Straits as part of this talent show. It wasn't a talent contest, but it was like a show of with dancing and music. And I think, oh gosh, how old was I? 15, maybe 16. Like still a bit of a prat, you know. And sang, brothers up these mist-covered mountains are a home now for me, etc. That was my first public performance. What about you? What was your first when you got up and did some? Go on, show. Go and show. You've been cornered in the playground and you got out. Right.
That's. Do you know what? Honestly, mate, I've never ever been asked that because first ever live performance of Magic. I mean, I always performed to my parents. I used to charge my family to watch me. Honestly, I used to say £1 each at a young age. I know. The first show I ever really did was I used to go to this bar in Crawley, a cocktail bar called the Octopus Bar, and I was in there most days. And I remember this one evening, my friend, he said, "Have you got your cards on you?" I went, "Yeah." He said, "Just do a few card tricks, mate. Let's see what people's reactions are." Because he used to love my magic, but I didn't have the confidence.
You need someone like that to say, "You're good. You should show people. Don't just show me. Show other people their mind."
I think I was 18. I think it was the first year going out and all that. And he said, go on. So I went up to these people, and then the next thing you know, the manager come up to me, and I thought, oh God, here we go. And he said, "Oh, we've got this festival coming up next weekend. Would you like to basically work on the Saturday and the Sunday, like doing magic for us?" And I went, "Yeah, all right." So I did that, and then they sort of hired me for a residency in there, and that's really how it happened.
Stop you there, just with a question, not to stop your story. I want to hear, but at that point in your repertoire, can you remember how many tricks you had in your repertoire at that point at 18?
If I said 50, it would probably be less. 40, 50. I mean, I knew.
That's still a lot.
It is, and it isn't. And what I mean by
gig, if you're doing like wandering around a room for an afternoon, you've got 40 things you can pull out your fucking pocket. That's a lot. That's like, imagine a singer who sings 40 different songs. It's like you're there all bloody day without repeating yourself.
No.
So, it's something to have 40 odd that you can just pull out your back pocket, and to make that leap for you into this form of entertainment. It's not the same as being in a band. There are much more opportunities. There are venues, there are gigs, there are blah blah blah. There are shops in every high street where you can buy an electric guitar and an amp.
Definitely.
Yours is much more specialised and much more difficult to break into, let alone sort of stand out. And you seem to be sort of nailing it, because I think it's because you are very good. I don't think it's because I think this is a good door for you, sort of broadening your appeal, getting people to know who you are and what you do. And like the sky's the limit. It's not like you get worse with age. You get better and better with age in your craft, because you learn more and more, and you learn.
Definitely, man.
You've found your repertoire in a way that you don't if you're just playing the guitar and writing stuff.
Haven't you got a little tour coming up soon? All right.
Oh yeah. Up on your eyebrows. Oh yeah, Mark, promote. Oh yeah, back to you. Yes, we do.
No, I mean, fancy a support act with me.
Oh shit! I see you were. Well, you could come on, but look. We've already got support acts, and you know what? The London shows we've got 2 already.
No, I know.
Something for the future.
I was being cheeky.
I know you were, but it's genuinely something for the future. But for this one next month, I think it's all tied up. But it'd be great.
When you're in Belfast or something, mate, I'm your man.
Well, how come you don't live in Belfast, do you?
Yeah, that's where the missus is from.
Is that where you are?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realise.
Yeah, man.
I reckon go over to Northern Ireland next May.
Are you?
Bluetones acoustic shows.
That's it. I'm your man. Listen, I've already booked myself in. I'm your opener. That's it. You ain't got no say.
Fine, that's fine by me.
Where are you playing?
I'll be in the front row. Oh, I can't remember off the top of my head, I'm afraid. And I don't think Belfast has been announced, but it's going to be announced. I think they're getting some interesting other shows in Belfast are going to be added. We're playing north, south, and then north again.
I'll have some of that.
Yeah, come along, Bobby. Nice to see you.
Yeah, of course, man. I'll come and see you anyway. Listen, you've just shown us a bit of your work. Would you like to see a quick trick? All right, give me a second. Let's go and get something. 2 seconds. Right. Let's have a quick go at this. See what I've got in here. In this deck, let me just make sure. Yeah. In this stray jacket, I have a deck of cards. All right. What I want you to do is think of any card in the deck, but not a picture card and not an ace. It's too obvious. Mm-hmm. So think of a numbered card. What is it?
3 of spades.
Oh, really? Not going to do that trick then. We'll do another one. No, seriously, the 3 of spades.
3 of spades.
That's really interesting because in this deck of cards, or in this, in this deck, I have a pack of cards, and every single card is facing towards the camera, except from one. All the cards are facing towards the camera, except from one, and that card is the 3 of spades.
Disgusting. Ridiculous.
Just like we did in rehearsals earlier.
Wow, man, that is a gift.
Appreciate that.
Boozing. People are never going to tire of that. Listen, they're never going to tire of this feeling that I'm having right now. It's like, what?
You enjoy that?
Yeah, I always do.
I appreciate that, man. It means a lot to me. It really does. I'll show you one more if you want. I can hear the little boy smashing the stuff up. I bought a cabinet and I've got a load of memorabilia in it. Right, let me try this one. This is my little stick man.
Mm-hmm.
Lennon, and he knows one trick and one trick only. Name any card in the deck, but not the 3 of spades and not a picture card and not an ace.
Name it now.
Yep.
8 of hearts.
Let me stand up for this. The 8 of hearts. There you go. The 8 of hearts. That's the card that you freely selected. Okay. Now that's not the trick. I just went in and found it. That's the 8 of hearts, so that's your card. Now, as I said to you, Lennon knows one trick and one trick only. You get the right angle. Ready?
Oh dear. What? That's good, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Mad, isn't it?
I always, I'm like the guy in the restaurant when someone comes around. I'm always like, take my money.
Oh, I'll send you my PayPal details. Not a problem.
Done you this? Come on.
Listen, what's the next 12 months hold for you, mate?
Oh, well, Bluetones tour coming up. Then I've got some gigs with Adam at the end of the year, and then some more early next year. We're going around the UK and into Ireland and Europe as well. And then before that, the Bluetones are going to do some recording.
Brilliant.
We've got some songs hanging around, and actually they turn out to be quite promising. So we're going to record something, I reckon, around March. We've scouted a new studio. Actually, what day is it? I did that on Tuesday. Found a new studio. It's perfect for us. We're going to rehearse there. We're going to record there. And next March, record 4 new songs. and then in the summer 4 more new songs, and then later in the year 4 more, and then stick out 3 EPs.
Brilliant.
Bite-sized chunks rather than just a big album thing. So I don't know if we can be bothered.
Brilliant, man.
I think it's such a long time since we last made a record. We need to sort of get up to speed in terms of like energy and focus, and that sounds quite hippy dippy. But if we break it down for ourselves into 4 and 4 and 4, I think we can do the best work that way.
100%. Sounds good to me.
You know, let's see. It might be terrible. We might have turned into, you know, Christa Berg.
I tell you what won't be terrible, and that is your support act in Belfast.
No, I don't. Check your watches. Where's my wristwatch?
Do you know what? As soon as I come off this, I'll be texting you going, Mark, don't forget, mate, Belfast.
No, you promised. You promised.
You said I was your only supporter.
Oh, yeah. You're on before the strippers.
What do you mean? I could do that as well, mate.
Puppet show.
Save the money.
Show.
Well, honestly, Mark, all I can say is thank you very much for joining me tonight. I've really have enjoyed chatting to you.
My pleasure.
As I said, there was no real structure to it. I noticed there was some comments wanted to talk about this and that, but it was just a general chat, and I think that's why people have been enjoying these, because there's no pressure on anything.
I think the danger is it's like you get asked the same old bleeding questions, which everyone knows the answer to, and I'm kind of like a bit
for it.
Talking about, and I like to just sort of ramble, have a conversation.
No, it's good, man. I hope you enjoyed it, because I did.
Certainly did.
Well, Mark, all I've got to say is thank you very much for your time.
The first time.
There we go. Look. Fist bumps. And I hope to see you soon, man.
Yeah, you too. You take care of yourself.
Thank you again, and enjoy the rest of your evening, brother. Take care, man.
See ya.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much to everyone who joined me. And thanks again, Mark. What a lovely guy. And I can't wait to catch up with him soon. So from me, enjoy the rest of your evening. And when it's the weekend, have a lovely weekend. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Fulfill the wrist and it's gone.